What are you doing in my swamp?
Hello everybody, this is Ogre Boy, and I'm going to be doing my ranking for my top 10 favorite movies of the year 2000. So, this is a pretty good year for movies. There were a lot of good ones that came out this year and everything, and I thought that I would talk about my favorites from that particular year. So, coming in at number 10 is Meet the Parents. This is a really fun comedy movie starring Ben Stiller and Robert De Niro about this man who goes to meet his girlfriend's parents and spend a weekend with them, and he gets himself in all kinds of crazy situations and stuff, and gets himself in trouble with her father throughout the movie, and it's just a really fun movie, but it's really funny and a really good time. So I've always really enjoyed this movie quite a bit and everything. If you want to hear more of my full thoughts on it, I recently reviewed it and everything, but it is a really fun comedy movie. So Meet the Parents is number 10, and number 9 is What Women Want. This is a really good rom-com starring Mel Gibson and Helen Hunt, and in this movie Mel Gibson plays this womanizer who gets the ability to hear what every woman is thinking and stuff, and he kind of has to learn and grow as a person and stuff, and learn how to be more respectful and stuff to women and stuff. It's a really good movie and everything. It's got a lot of heart, and it's got a really good story. The chemistry between Mel Gibson and Helen Hunt is pretty good, and it's just a really good rom-com from the early 2000s. So What Women Want is number 9, and number 8 is The Patriot. This is another one of Mel Gibson's best movies. I really love this movie. It's a Revolutionary War movie, which is kind of rare. You don't get very many movies set during the Revolutionary War, but I love that and everything, and I love how he's strongly against the war and stuff until it shows up literally at his house, and they kill his son and everything, and then he takes on joins up and everything and agrees to take on these people and everything. It's not only just a good war movie, but it's also a good revenge story as well. And it's got some really great performances in here. Aside from Mel Gibson, you got Heath Ledger and Jason Isaacs, who plays a really good villain, and he's amazing in this movie and everything. So it has a really good cast and everything. I love this movie. So The Patriot is number 8, and number 7 is Coyote Ugly. This is another movie that I just grew up watching as a kid. I always had a blast watching it, seeing the girls dancing sexy on the bar counter and everything. But I love the story and everything. Just this small town girl who goes to the big city trying to make her dreams come true of becoming a musician and stuff, and she gets this job and doing everyday life stuff, and it's just a good movie. It's got a good story to it and everything, good message about following your dreams, good performances. Piper Perabo is really good in here, and John Goodman is really good too. So I really enjoy the cast in this movie, and also the music is great too. It has a really great soundtrack in here. One of my favorite songs, Can't Fight the Moonlight, came from this movie by Leanne Rimes. She sings the song and everything, but I love the music in this movie and everything. So Coyote Ugly is number 7, and number 6 is Me, Myself, and Irene. This is another one that I'll be reviewing at some point, so I don't want to say too awful much about my thoughts, but this is a really fun Jim Carrey movie where he has a split personality, and he really goes all out in this movie. The one minute he's playing this straight-laced really uptight dude and everything, and then he lets loose as this crazy person who is the total opposite of him and everything. And Jim Carrey is just so perfect in this movie. He does such a great job and everything, and it's really funny comedy and everything. It's one of those comedies that if you haven't seen it, I would definitely recommend it. It is a great time. So Me, Myself, and Irene is number 6, and number 5 is The Emperor's New Groove. This movie is so much fun. And I used to say that it was a very underrated movie, but in years, its fan base, kind of like with Lilo and Stitch, have made it where it's not very underrated at all, really. Although Lilo and Stitch's fan base has always been bigger. Even back then, it was bigger than this one. But this movie is so much fun. Cusco is such a lovable main character. I can't help but love him. Pacha is great too. Even the villain and the side character are lovable. Like you don't even want to hate Yzma. You just love her because she's funny and everything. And Kronk is absolutely hilarious. One of the best villain sidekicks, and maybe even the best villain sidekick in a Disney movie. I love him too, and it's just a really, really fun movie. The animation is really good. It's not on the same level of some of Disney animation's other movies, but it still looks really good. And it's a really, really good time. And as much production problems as this movie had too, I'm amazed that it even turned out to be a good movie, much less an amazing movie that really stands the test of time. It's one that really has a big fan base and everything, kind of like Lilo and Stitch, but this one is the more underrated of the two and everything for sure. But it's always been one of my favorite movies that came out that year and everything. So The Emperor's New Groove is number 5, and number 4 is X-Men. Now for my taste in movies and stuff, this is probably the most influential movie that came out that year and everything, because it is the movie that really got me into the superhero genre and everything. I had seen Batman in the Christopher Reeve Superman movies and stuff, but I was not really into superheroes and stuff until X-Men came out, and I got really, really into it. I fell in love with the characters. Wolverine is still one of my favorite characters. Magneto is still one of my favorite villains in a comic book movie and everything, and I love Sir Ian McKellen in this movie as Magneto. He's amazing. And then, of course, Charles Xavier, played by Patrick Stewart, is perfect casting. Hugh Jackman has been amazingly spot-on perfect as Wolverine for the last 24 years. But really, all of these cast members have been spot-on perfect for these characters, but none of them quite like Wolverine and everything. But this was a really, really great start to the X-Men franchise, and really my love for comic book movies. So, X-Men is number 4. And number 3 is Final Destination. This is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. I absolutely love this movie. I love the concept of death following you when you escape it and everything. Just a very eerie subject matter, and the way they handle it is really, really well done. The kills are really good. And here they have some really good, intense kills and everything. Each of them, with the suspense leading up to the kill, is always some of the funnest parts of the movie. But and no matter how many times I see this movie, I just always enjoy it, and I still get chills and stuff every time I watch it, especially in the scene when he's in the bathroom at the beginning before the plane ride and he hears Rocky Mountain High. And the eerie score that goes behind it and stuff, just, man, it just gives a creepiness to it, and it makes that song creepy. Every time I hear that song, I associate it with this movie. But I love Final Destination. It is a really, really great movie. So it's number 3, and number 2 is Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Now this is probably the movie I have seen the most out of any movie from that year, because I watch it at least once every holiday season. Sometimes I'll go all out and watch it like 4 or 5 times. I love this movie. Like, Jim Carrey was just absolutely perfect as the Grinch. He was spot on perfect. The costume, the makeup on the Who's, everything just looks awesome. And it has a really awesome early 2000s, late 90s soundtrack with really good music and stuff and everything. And it's not an early 2000s soundtrack movie without Smash Mouth doing some kind of music for it and everything. And it's one of those movies I love, and I watch it every year, and I think I love it more every time I watch it. It's just such a great movie and everything. And it's barely number 2. I almost made it number 1 just because of how much I've rewatched it and how much I enjoy it every time I do watch it. So it's barely number 2, but my number 1 favorite movie of the year 2000 is Castaway. I absolutely love this movie. It is so good, and I don't want to talk too much about it because I do plan on reviewing it here before too long and everything. It might actually be another year from now or whatever, but I do plan on reviewing it sometime next year for its 25th anniversary, which is hard to believe that it's going to be 25 years next year since this movie came out. This movie is a masterpiece. I just absolutely love this movie. It has a really good story, a great performance from Tom Hanks, one of his absolute best performances. In fact, I'd go as far to say this is probably my favorite performance of his. He's just absolutely amazing in here, and he's the only man that I could ever think of that would be able to make me cry over a man losing a volleyball and everything. When he loses Wilson, that scene is just heartbreaking and everything. But this movie is so good and everything, and it's easily my favorite movie of the year 2000. So anyway, let me know in the comments what your favorite movies of the year 2000 are. I know there's some that I didn't get to put on there that I really like. I'll go ahead and give a few honorable mentions. Well, not What Lies Beneath, I really like that one. Scream 3, I don't think was deserving of being on the top 10, but I'll still give it an honorable mention. Scary Movie, love that movie. I almost included it, but I decided to put Meet the Parents instead. And everything. But those are the main ones I could think of and everything. But this was a great year for movies and everything. And anyway, let me know in the comments what your favorite movies of the year 2000 are, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.
I wanna see you out that door, baby.